Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2020 Toyota 4Runner. I'm going to walk through how to install the Aries ActionTrac Motorized running boards. This is what our steps are going to look like when they're installed. They're going to be an aluminum construction, black powder coat finish. They're going to hold up really well against rust and corrosion. They're going to be 4.5 inches wide, 70 inches long. They're going to span from the front to the back, so access for driver and passenger and both back seats. Now, why would somebody want the motorized running boards over just regular running board? Well, my thought was this step drops down lower. With just a regular standard board, you don't have that extra step. So if your vehicle's up a little bit higher, you're still having to get up or step up into your door. With this one being able to go down, it drops down even lower. But the good thing is, with it being motorized, once you close your door, it folds back up into place. It looks like a factory running board. Our lower step is going to be 3.5 inches wide. You can see it does have raised sections in there, so if there does happen to be water on it or anything like that, it can drain off and keeps your shoes up out of it a little bit, gives you a little bit better grip. You also see the LED light. It does come with the LED light, so once it's installed, this is really going to help with getting in and out of the vehicle at nighttime and seeing this lower step. It's also going to come with a switch for your power for the board, so if for some reason you wanted to turn them off and you didn't want to use them, flip that switch and they wouldn't come open when your doors are open, and the LED light wouldn't come on. Another great reason is, once you have them open, if you need to load something on your roof, you flip that switch and it's basically the override. So the step's going to stay open and you can use it to get up, give you better access to your roof. Each step is going to have a 650-pound max weight limit. They're going to come with everything needed to get them installed. The installation process is pretty straightforward. The wiring comes basically pre-put together, so you don't really have to cut or splice anything. You just plug stuff together and then route it to the correct places, and you're basically ready to go. Other than that, let's go ahead and walk through how to get them installed. Start our installation. You start on the driver's side or passenger side, it really doesn't matter. We need to come underneath our panel here. This vehicle actually has bolts in place. You may have plugs. You need to remove the plugs or the bolts. If you have bolts, they're going to be 12 millimeter. Remove these two here. We'll work our way back. We're going to have two here in the center. And right here at the back, we'll have two more. These bolts will not be reinstalled. Now, your instructions are going to tell you to install these brackets on the vehicle first. I found that installing them on the car first, they're hard to get these into the slots. So we're going to install them on the actual step first, and then we'll keep them loose and then put them on the car. So you'll see we have different brackets. This bracket here is going to be for the front on each side, and these are going to be your center and rear ones. If we look at our step, the wire goes in the back. So we're going to take one of these. They're going to slide this lip into the top here, like that. We'll take one of these. And again, we're just loosely installing these. We want to make sure we're able to slide them because we got to line them up with the holes on the vehicle. You're going to have a bracket that looks like this. You need to put it on one of these. You're going to put a flat washer on. Sorry, that backwards. Put a flat washer on, put this bracket on, and a nylon lock nut. For this one, we'll do a flat washer, and then nylon lock nut. We're going to take these two and slide them in from the other end. One's going to be for the middle, one's going to be for the front. Do the same thing with this bracket. Again, we're not going to tighten these down because we want to be able to move everything. Next, we're going to want to get the rest of our hardware set up. We're going to take one of our hex bolts, we're going to put on a lock washer and a flat washer. You're going to have 2 for each one of the brackets that go up into the vehicle. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to raise our step up into place. Good. Our bolts underneath is hand threaded in to hold it up, and then we can adjust where we want it. Once you get all your hardware loosely installed, what we want to do is we want to center it up. You want to make sure that you're not too far back or this edge is too close to your tire. What we want to do once we get it centered is we want to tighten the lower bolts first, and then we'll come back and tighten the brackets to the body of the car. Use a 1/2 inch socket. Make sure you don't over tighten. After you get one running board on, you're going to repeat the process in the other. Then we need to start running our wiring. We're going to start under the hood. There's a rubber grommet right here in the corner. You'll see right next to this cable, to the right of it, there's a kind of a ball that actually goes to a sleeve to the inside. So we're just going to cut the end of that off, and that'll give us a route to route our first bit of wiring. And cut it however you want. Snips, a knife, whatever you got. Now you're going to find the cable or in your kit with the wiring, the one that has the fuse holder. We're not going to be connecting this to the battery, even though they state that in the instructions. We're not going to do it until later on when we get everything else wired together. We're going to take these 2 ends, then we need to feed them through the ground to the inside. With your wire ran through, you want to come over and you want to pop off the panels on the side, front and rear door. You're going to take the other part of the wiring harness that comes in your kit. It'll look like this is going to be one end of it. This end is going to plug in here. This is going to be for a switch, ground, and then we're going to have a long piece that we need to go back to the passenger side, or I'm sorry, back to the back, and then across over the passenger side. So with our panels off, I can pop this center one off if I need to, but I think there might be enough room, a gap here, that I can feed something in there, and then take these 2 ends and feed them up instead of taking the big section and trying to feed it through. Now I found out that I can just take this wire and I can tuck it underneath this panel and it will come down all the way down to the bottom. So we'll come back to that in a second. Since I know I can do that, I'm going to go ahead and hook these together. We'll come back and tape them a little bit later. As I mentioned, this is going to be for a switch. Probably need to get a good idea of where you want to mount the switch up here in the cab area, the driver's side. That way you have enough pulled forward to be able to do it. It is going to come with some 2-sided sticky tape. I think I might just put it right here. There's a flat spot and it'll be out of the way. So as long as I got enough that I can get up behind this panel and bring it out of here, I think I'll be good. Kind of tuck this like that. This guy tucked under here. On the driver and passenger side, we need to either find a grommet or we're going to have to drill a hole. This grommet right here cannot be used. All it does is go to the top side of the body mount. So if we come right in front of it, you'll see a couple little dimples. We can go anywhere in here and drill our 1-inch hole. You can also go to the side here or even to the front. All of it underneath is open. What I'm going to use is a hole saw bit. And I think I'm going to go right in this area. You notice that weld spot there? This is about where this body seam is. And I really don't want to cut into that, so I'm going to go in front of this dimple and go about right here. Now we're going to take our brown and tan wire and our red and black wire that are connected together in this bundle. There's going to be a rubber grommet that comes in your kit if you had to drill a hole. Put that on your wires first, and then we're going to feed both these down through that hole. Once we get them fed down in there, we can take our grommet and put it in place. Once you get one hole drilled, you're going to drill one on the other side of the vehicle. Next, we need to take a wiring harness, with the exception of these two, for our driver's side. On the end, we're going to route it underneath our carpet, straight over the passenger side. You're going to have two plugs that are going to feed out. They're going to connect one to the LED light, and one that's going to go to the running board. And then you'll have two more connectors like this. These are for your sensors that go on the doors, which we haven't got to just yet. And we're going to need to mount our control box, which is going to be more towards the passenger side. It really doesn't matter where you mount it, as long as it's not going to get stepped on, damaged, and it's out of the way. Underneath the seat, passenger rear seat, there's an open, it's kind of like a open area here. There's some factory wiring with something right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it right next to it. To give you the option to put self-tappers in and mount it to metal. However, it's going to be hard to get underneath that, so I'm just going to use some two-sided sticky tape. It doesn't come in your kit. You can pretty much find it at a local hardware store. Take the large end, plug it into the box. I get this mounted underneath, and then we can kind of get our carpet somewhat put back in place. Now we're going to take one of these guys. This is for our door sensors. You'll have some two-sided tape in your kit. I'm going to pull up this rubber seal all the way up to right here. Stick it right, this guy right here. We're going to put it right underneath of it. Again, we're on the back door for this one, or I should say for the location that this is going. Take this strip off. We're going to stick it just like that, and we're going to go inside. Go straight in like that. And this is going to connect to our purple and orange wire over here. And we can feed that back there, and then put this floor panel back in. After you get that sensor put in place, you're going to have 4 magnets that are kind of stuck together. There's a white plastic piece in between. These magnets are very brittle. Make sure you don't let them snap together when you take them apart. I'm going to take one apart at a time. You don't necessarily need the plastic piece. These will stick to this body. If you have an aluminum body, these don't stick. It is going to come with some two-sided tape. What I recommend, whether you have an aluminum body or not, if you have kids, this magnet on this door, somebody's going to try playing with it and pull it off. I suggest go ahead and using the two-sided tape. That way it cannot be removed unless you want it to be. Now we're going to stick it on one side. Now you got to find out where to put it on this door. What you can do is you can take the magnet on the opposite side and it just holds on just enough onto that sensor where you can actually close your door and it will stick right in here. Push that in place and that's ready to go. You can move up to the other one. Or the front doors. On the back door, we went below this. On the front, we're going to go above it. Now, for our driver's side here, we're not going to be long enough for the two to meet. It's going to come with two extensions, and those are for your front doors if you need them. We didn't need it on the passenger side, however you will on the driver's side. I'm going to take this and just tuck it in here. Once you have your 3 wires with your ground that are going to your switch ran up, I actually removed this panel right here. There's a small plastic nut inside, and then you just pop it off. That allowed me to run everything behind it. The rest of my wiring that I had here, there was kind of a bunch of it. I popped the carpet up right here and stuffed it right underneath. You're going to get a bracket like this in your kit for your switch. I bent mine right at that opening. And your switch is just going to pop into place. I think what I'm going to do is instead of drilling into it, I'm going to use the 2-sided tape that comes in the kit. I'll mount it right there. In your kit, you're going to get a little connector like this. One end's going to go on the black wire, and we can connect to the switch. The black goes on the copper, and the other 2 red will go on the 2 silver ones. This black wire is a ground, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Go ahead and get this mounted up here in place. And that ground just needs to be on metal. A metal surface, typically the frame or the body, right straight to the side. There's a big open metal piece. You can take a self-tapper, get it started in there, take that, slide it on there, and then tighten it back into place. Now that we get everything hooked up inside the vehicle, we have our panels back in place. We're going to have an LED light for each side. It's going to look like this. Take the nut off. The bracket that we installed. Put the LED light on. Thread the nut back in place. We're going to tighten it down just yet. We're going to take the plug coming off our LED light. We're going to go to the brown and tan wire. Hook those together, and the other one is going to connect into your running boards. I'm going to leave them like this for now. Now, the last thing we need to do, connect to our battery, test them out, and make sure everything's working right. Before we connect to the battery, we want to make sure that the fuse is not in the holder. I think for my ground, I'm going to go right here. Insert the fuse. test them out, make sure everything's working right. When you put the fuse in, turn the switch on. When you open the door, the light should come on, the step should fold out. When you close the door, the light should go off and the step should fold up. If it does not, that means the magnets are in the wrong place. What I suggest is taking all the magnets off, start on one side, have somebody hold the magnet up against the sensor, up against this sensor on the back door. You take the magnet from the front door and set it on there. Pull it off, give it a second, and set it on there. That's telling the step that the door is opening and closing. Once you find the spot where it goes up and down, when you're either putting the magnet on or taking it off, that's the spot you need to go on the door. Set the magnet on there, close the door, open the door. Where that magnet is set on the door, take that two-sided sticky tape and stick it on there. Once you get one side done, pull the fuse out for a second, put it back in, do the other side. Because if you do that too many times, it's going to reset it and it's going to go backwards. Once you can open each one of your doors, the steps open and close on their own, light goes off and on. Go ahead and clean up your install on the bottom side, tuck up your wires, get them taped up so they're not hanging down, potentially getting caught on anything that the tires might throw up. That's going to do it for a look at an installation of the Aries ActionTrac Motorized running boards on the 2020 Toyota 4Runner.